a great opportunity for me and my family, but excited about what we're doing here in this next game. Excited about the opportunity to compete against James Madison, a really, really good team, and really just focus all my energy right now on the Ducks.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Alan Cutler, honored and pleased to be with you. That was from a press conference Will Stein did yesterday at Oregon. And I really like what he said, because I think one of the keys about him is relationships, that he believes he's a fraud if he doesn't help out Oregon to hopefully win a national championship. I believe it, and I buy it. I absolutely buy it. This is not a chopping on anyone. And if someone takes it that way, can't help you, and don't give a rat's. So Adam Luckett is really good, and I've told him that to his face. And he was just on KSR. Look, I listened to Leach. I listened to KSR. I listened to Matthew and Jimmy. And then if I'm in the car, I listen to Gabriel. I listen to way too much sports talk. Okay? And some of you are accusing me of stuff which you're clueless, but that's neither here nor there. Not going to go on the tangent. Luckett said that Cutler is the guy. Let me repeat. Adam Luckett, who does a really good job for KSR, says Cutler is the guy. I'm not saying he's not going to be the guy. I am saying it ain't a done deal. Look, we broke some news on JMI yesterday. Going to break some news now as well. Do I believe from my heart that the new UK staff really likes Cutler? I do. But explain a couple things to me. My sources tell me that Cutler has not signed a new deal. And I got to tell you, yesterday it popped up. There's a whole bunch of quarterbacks, big-time quarterbacks, with more of a reputation, with more experience, with being deemed potential NFL quarterbacks. You go to Florida, you go to Nebraska. There's a lot of really good quarterbacks out there now. I would suspect at least some of the quarterbacks out there already know where they're going. I would suspect that some of the quarterbacks out there have it already narrowed down to 2 or 3, and there's negotiating going on. That's what I suspect. Kind of know, too. Which and who, do not know, but I know what's going on with the system. Now, my understanding is Cutler is doing the obvious. He's looking at film, tape, whatever the hell you want to call it, with the new coaches. Okay? That's what you do. That is normal. You start the education as soon as possible. Obviously, if they didn't like him, that wouldn't be happening. I'm not saying Cutler is the backup plan. I am not saying that. I am saying I honestly believe that if Stein and his staff find somebody they like better, can I guarantee you, first of all, I'm not guaranteeing anything. Can I guarantee you that Cutler's the starting quarterback next year? I can't. And there's no hidden message about Cutler not being the starter next year. And there's no hidden message about Cutler being the backup next year. None. None. Do I think it's a great possibility that Cutler will be the starter? Yes. And let me tell you something. Whether it's the Florida quarterback or the Nebraska quarterback or it's Cutler, these kids, and I call them kids with no disrespect. I'm old. I really don't mean any disrespect by that, and I've said that more than once. It's the way I speak. These kids have had calls and offers from schools for quite some time. They just have. So that's why when I hear, which would be a good idea because there's only so much you control, that maybe you should push the open season for portal from January 2nd to June. I'm not going to go on a tangent on it, but there's a lot of logic for doing it, even though I really believe, I don't know about Christmas Day, but I really believe that this is free agency almost 24 hours a day. Almost. And I don't see it changing. I don't see it changing. So I'm just telling you, I'm not saying Cutler's not going to be the quarterback. I'm saying at this particular point in time, until he's signed, this is not happening. Now, let me take both sides of the argument for a second, okay? Because I can honestly see both sides with this. Now, I want you to think about this. You're Will Stein. You're the coach. You got Davis. hell of an offensive coordinator. Stein and Davis know each other for a long time, okay? If I'm a quarterback out there, I got to tell you, I think the coaching you ready for this? Are you ready for this? I think the coaching in Lexington is better than the coaching at Nebraska. Let me continue. I think the quarterback coaching in Lexington is better than the quarterback coaching in Florida. I really do, by the way. It's one of the exciting things about this change. It really is. It's kind of, when I look at some of the things, and look, there's a lot of these guys I told you yesterday, I don't know who the hell they are. Some of them I didn't even know the names. Some of them I knew, but I didn't know. Basically, I don't know. I know a lot more about the coordinator I knew before he committed to come to Kentucky, okay? And I'd like to say it was true with all these guys. It's just not, and I'm just that honest. It is what it is. But I got to tell you, if I'm the agent of a top-notch quarterback, now I want you to think about this for a second. Let's say someone is offering the Nebraska quarterback $3 million. By the way, and I have no clue. I'm throwing out bogus numbers, totally bogus. There are occasions when I really do numbers, and I do know numbers, and I say it. But I want to do this for the point. Let's say there's a school that offers a Nebraska quarterback $3 million, and the coaching they decide is good, but not great. I want to tell you, and I've said this so many times, it's ad nauseum. Not everything is about the money. When so many of you say it's the highest bidder, it's BS. And I'm so furious right now, I almost used the word bull and whatever. But, Jimmy, I don't want you to jump to hit the button. That was done out of respect to you, Jimmy. I know you appreciate that, right?
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Is that the first time you said thank you to me in 4 years? It might be.
It's been a couple times.
A couple. So I believe this from my heart, not with everybody, because everybody's different. If you have another team that you think the coach and offensive coordinator is big time, and you can improve more at that school, you're out of your mind if you take the $3 million versus the $2 million. And I think there's a lot of young people that are smart enough to understand that. I think there's a lot of agents that are smart enough to understand that. And I think there's a lot of young people said, I want the money. Does that sound fair? What percentage? I don't know. But I've given you examples in the past about people who took less money because of where they wanted to be. And some of the examples are at Kentucky, football and basketball. Don't want to go on that tangent again. I've given you real names and numbers with that. Okay? I have. And so now take the big picture. If I'm the Nebraska quarterback and I'm surveying the field and I see Stein is coming here, if I'm DJ Langley and I see that Stein is here, I want you to think about that. And if you think about it, outside of Bo Nix, you could make a case that potential-wise, the Florida quarterback and Nebraska quarterback, you could make a case, are thought of in higher regard. It is unbelievable how Bo Nix changed at Oregon. And the other quarterbacks as well. Not the point. Not the point. So I'm just saying, what do I think? I think Will Stein is going to do what the hell Will Stein wants, and Will Stein should do whatever he wants. He is the coach. That's cold, but really, this isn't about favoritism. It's not. It's not. You hired the guy. He's a great expert on certain things. Bring it on. So that's what I think he's doing. And I got to tell you this, forgetting about some stuff I know, he'd be nuts not to. Now, do I believe Cutler wants to be the starting quarterback? Yes. Yes. Here's what I do not know, but I believe. When I say I do not know this 100%. There's no question in my mind that Cutler wants to be the Kentucky quarterback, okay? I honestly believe, but do not know factually, that if Cutler knows he's going to be the starting quarterback and knows he's going to be the guy, and by the way, they bring somebody in, which I'm guessing they're going to have to do, he's going to know. And come on, he's going to know. He's going to know if it's as a backup. He's going to know if it's legitimate competition. He's going to know if he's really 1A. He's going to know. He's not stupid. These quarterbacks aren't stupid. They're not. They're not. And so if he deems himself as the number 2 or the 1A because of somebody they bring in, and there's another offer out there where they say you're going to be the starter, does that guarantee he's going to be here? Hell no. Does that mean he's not being loyal to Kentucky? Hell no. Will some of you look at it that way? Yes. And you're entitled to your opinion, but you're so damn wrong it's not even funny. You're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. I'm not talking down to you. You're wrong. Cutler loves Kentucky, but he ain't going to the NFL. And if some of you say, well, you know, he's not an NFL player, and you have no idea. He's got a lot of quarterbacking to do. Arch Manning is going back to Texas. He sucked early on, got tons better. He's not ready for the NFL. If he improves next year like he did this year, he might be ready for the NFL next year at the end of the year. Might be. I think there's actually a pretty good shot. Don't know it, but there's a pretty good shot. I think Cutler can get a lot better in all kinds of ways. All kinds of ways. So if you're out there and you say, and some of you say Cutler's not that good, he's a freaking freshman. And for a freshman, I thought he was wonderful. Now, if he plays like this as a senior, he's not as wonderful. I do not believe for a second he wouldn't improve tremendously as a quarterback here next year based upon Cutler getting reps, based upon Cutler being smart, based upon the really, really smart people who will guide him. I believe that from the bottom of my heart. All I'm saying, Adam Luckett guaranteed that Cutler is here. I'm saying it could absolutely happen. It ain't guaranteed. It's just not. And if you think that's a negative comment to Adam Luckett, nope, I respect the young man. I think he's really good, by the way. But we're going to disagree sometimes, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. That's healthy. That's sports talk. He's got his sources. I have my sources. And you know what's interesting? The first year or so, maybe I shouldn't say it, but it's really true. I wasn't getting information like this from all kinds of places. And it's amazing how it's changed. From my text messages that I had to push out to now I get some without asking for it. And now I ask for it as well with other people. So as the show grows, it's helping me tremendously. I've had 2 people this week tell me that the reason why they're giving me information because they trust me. And by the way, that was my mantra in TV. I knew there were people in the 80s in TV when I broke a ton of stories. I knew they didn't like me, but they trusted me. And they wanted the information out, and they knew the information would get out properly. Properly. I was complimentary of JMI yesterday for some reasons of the changing of contracts and stuff like that. I don't know if it got back to him. I'm guessing it did, and I didn't do it to kiss anybody's butt. I've criticized, but guess what? I thought it was a really good deal. I thought it was a really nice metamorphosis. I thought it was a smart business move. So I complimented. It's a pretty simple deal. If I don't like something, I will criticize. One of these days, most of you will get that I'm just pure. I'm fat, but I'm pure. It either is or it isn't. It's that simple. And I started studying sports in the late 1950s. Jimmy, were your parents born in the late 1950s?
My dad was born in 58, so that gets a little bit.
Whew. Gosh. Okay, you just threw me off with that one totally. Congratulations, Jimmy. I think the point's pretty obvious. I can still tell you the starting lineup for the Boston Celtics in 1960. I've done it on the show, that kind of stuff. This is what I do. This is a lot of what I am. I love what I'm doing. That's why I'm doing it now. Okay, let me say again. Do I think Kentucky likes Cutler Bowley? I do. Do I think they're totally sold on Cutler Bowley? I do not. Do I think that's negative towards Stein or Cutler? I don't, by the way. It's Stein's job to bring in, I don't give a crap if it's the center. I don't care if it's the tailback. I don't care if it's the quarterback. What he feels is the best person for each job. I can't remember the exact quote, but Joe Burrow's dad, who was a defensive coordinator for a long time in college, had this great thing he said to his son. He said, just because somebody doesn't pick you, that doesn't mean you're not great, doesn't mean you're not special. Right? Because he transferred from Ohio State to LSU. That's a paraphrase. So Look at it that way. Bad judgments are made by coaches all the time. Am I suggesting this is a bad judgment? I am not. I am not. Coaches make mistakes. They make them all the time. Sportscasters make mistakes. Teachers make mistakes. It's all good. It's all good. Cutter's not signed the way I understand it. Kentucky's new staff has said positive things to Cutter. Cutter is watching film, tape, whatever we want to call it, basically every day. I do not believe for a second if a quarterback that they deem is better and is within the budget and wants to come here, do I think their eyes are open? Yes. Do I think that's wrong by Stein? No. I also believe Cutter needs to do whatever the hell is best for Cutter. Period. 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 Look, the Brown kid who left here went to LSU. By the way, Jimmy, did you see he had 52 catches, and I can't believe it was for just under 500 yards? You would think with a speedster like that, he would have broken some long ones. Anyway, he's going to an all-star game. Would that have happened here? Maybe, probably not. Maybe. Did it turn out to be better that he left? Yes. Am I down on the kid? No. I wish him well, and I think he's got a shot in the NFL because of his speed. He will get more chances because of speed. Doesn't mean he can get drafted high. Doesn't mean he'll get drafted at all. I'm going to guess without looking at all the wide receivers, he's going to get drafted. You can't teach that speed. And I think his best football's ahead of him. That's neither here nor there. I don't want to get on a tangent. Sometimes it's best to leave. I'm not suggesting Cutter leaves. I actually hope he stays. I hope for a couple reasons. I think this coaching staff can help him tremendously as he grows. I really believe it. 2, he's a Kentucky boy, wants to be here. 3, at this point, I don't know. And could I be wrong that it's 100% done? Could be, but I'm not. Now, do I believe it's possible if Cutter becomes the quarterback? It comes out from UK. He was our guy all along. And Jimmy, if that comes out, that'll be my first BS towards the new coaching staff. That I just ruined the availability of getting interviews from the football staff. Because, look, stuff happens. It just does. But I got to tell you, whatever Cutter does, I'm going to support. Just tell you that straight out. I like the kid. I think the kid's got great potential. And I also got to say, if the Stein group brings in somebody else, might be the best thing for Cutter. And if the Stein group keeps Cutter and Cutter wants to be here, which he wants to be here, might be the best thing for Cutter. Now, if that sounds wishy-washy, that's BS because the truth is we don't know. We do not know. And that's okay. It's okay. Jimmy, you got 2 cents on what I just did?
I do think that if the coaching staff were to come out and say Cutter was our guy from the beginning, I don't think that would necessarily be a lie because they could still want Cutter and he's their number one choice, but they still have to do all this research to look up who is going to be our 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, even 6th option. What if Cutter doesn't want to be here? What if he wants to go somewhere else? So they have to be looking, but they could still all collectively say, hey, our end goal is to have Cutter come back. But if he's not, that's why we have to go out and do all this research and recruiting and looking at all these other things. But at the end of the day, Cutter could still be their number one.
I'm going to strongly disagree with you, if I may.
Yeah.
Okay. If they bring in a guy that is pretty obvious that would be a backup, a senior last year, that kind of stuff, I couldn't agree with you more. But if Langley comes in, if DJ Langley, and by the way, I have no idea if there's any conversation over covert or anything with DJ Langley. I'm just using him as an example, okay? If Langley comes here, there's no way in blank that he's coming here unless he thinks he's going to be the guy. Yeah. If Langley comes here, Cutter knows that he's the guy, okay? So that's where I'm going to slightly disagree with you. And here's one more. If you were correct and they were bringing in somebody for a backup, then why is this deal with Cutter not done? Because, think about it this way. You can't pay 2 guys number one money. Well, maybe they can. I don't think they have that kind of money, and I don't think it's prudent to do that kind of money. So in this case, I rarely disagree with you, Jimmy, but I'm going to disagree with you on that. Because if Cutter was the guy, and you do have, with Saunders leaving, and I never thought he would stay, and I was surprised he came here. Because if Cutter became the guy, he was going to leave anyway, whether there was a coaching change or not. The kid's a hell of a quarterback, and that really was a wonderful wonderful recruiting coup by Bush Hampton, who at times doesn't get enough credit, neither here nor there. But, look, if they bring a young man like Allen, who came back and was here and is local and stuff like that, and I still think, not this past year, the year before, they should have played him, and I thought that was a bad mistake by Stoops. And I've said that I think they might have gone to the bowl game if they would have put him in late. Neither here nor there. But if they bring in someone like that, Jimmy, you and I are going to know, and the fans are going to know very quickly that that's probably a backup. Agree?
Oh, yeah.
So unless it's that, that's where I really disagree with you. Look, and I don't blame Stein. I don't. And I'm not saying this because he's a new coach. He should do whatever the hell he wants. Just like Cutler should do whatever the hell he wants. Is that as fair and open as anybody can be?
Yeah, and that's the same thing with Cutler. He wants to stay here if he does, but he should also do his due diligence, and he may shop around, look around, have open ears, listen to see what other schools are wanting and offering, just like all these other guys. That's the tricky part about college now. It's turned into the NFL, where all these players and coaches like, hey, this coach is going to go on a meeting here. Oh, we ended up signing with him. Well, does he really want to be an offensive coordinator here? He took, he did an interview with 3 different other teams to become a head coach. Does he really want to be? That's turned into college now. All these schools and coaches, they all have to do their research just to make sure, because you don't know what's going to happen, and it's the wild, wild west now.
Yeah, and do I think Cutter's listening? Yes. Do I think other guys in a different quarterback position listening? Yes. Cutter would be stupid not to listen. And if somebody out there thinks he's being disingenuous and not loyal to Kentucky, I can't help you. You don't understand the business. Or somebody says, I'm a Kentucky boy and I wouldn't listen to anything and I want to be, God bless him. That's what it be. It's not smart. It's not smart. I want to play a clip from Stein. I really, really like this. This is from yesterday's press conference. And I've had this pet peeve, and Jimmy, through the course of now in the 4th year, I have said many times that there's some high school coaches would have been wonderful college coaches. They just didn't get in that route. There are some great coaches on all levels. And I used the example when I first got here in the early 80s. I was really close to shocked how good some of the small college basketball coaches were in the state of Kentucky. There were so many coaches that would have made big-time head coaches, but never got an opportunity. I mean, switching defense, this, that, and the other. I mean, from the reads and the lanes and going to miss somebody. I mean, it's crazy. And so this is a wonderful compliment about Stein and his high school days. This is really cool. And it really says a lot for the state of Kentucky. Because although the state doesn't get a great reputation for high school talent, and I think if the population were 3 times bigger, it would be totally different, but that's neither here nor there. I think at times the high school coaches don't get enough love. Look, Tim Couch, be the first to tell you, he said it many times. I really think Tim Couch really got lucky because his high school coach was basically a college coach who was a college quarterback, Whitaker. I mean, that really helped him out. Tim's the first to say it. I mean, he was reading defenses before he could shave. It's pretty cool. Anyway, here's Stein when he was asked, hey, Stein, where did you get your philosophy? Where did it start?
Probably really goes back to my high school days, to be honest, when I was a player for Bob Beatty at Trinity High School, and our offensive coordinator, Andrew Coverdale, was one of the best in the country. We were really multiple men in high school. We played in split backs. We did 12 personnel looks. We were under center. We were in the gun. We'd motion. We'd shift. We'd huddle, speed break. We did a lot of things in high school football, and that's why we won a lot of games, a lot of state championships. I think ever since then, it kind of just bled into my overall philosophy of how to play offense. It's not a bunch of new schemes. It's just how can we dress up our plays in a million different ways out of different personnel groupings. Then when I played at Louisville, Sean Watson was a big West Coast guy where we get under center, I formations, and 12 and 21, and other, multiple looks. And Bobby Petrino, same way, using backs. He was really good at using running backs in the pass games. So, yeah, I've been really fortunate to work for guys and play for guys that were creative in their own sense and used their personnels to their advantage.
Pretty good, Jimmy, don't you think?
Yeah. It's crazy just the recall that he has, just remembering everything back from high school. Like these certain guys that are just football guys through and through. He He seems like one of those you could ask him off memory, like a Sean McVay could, and just recall a play that happened 3 years ago on third down, and he'd have it for you.
You know, Pete Rose was the same way. You know, for a guy that wasn't a college scholar, in a lot of ways, Pete was smart. Dumb what he ended up doing, but he would recall pitches and stuff like that. He kind of a photographic memory. And there are some guys like that and gals like that, which help him out not a little, but tremendously. Let's go to Stein clip number 4. And this is the one where everybody has a curiosity. Look, I applaud Stein. His ability to micromanage is kind of like ridiculous. You know, he's hiring a staff while he's the boss of the offense, leaning on people at Kentucky, leaning on people at Oregon, but he's still the boss of the offense at Oregon. And what he's done, or any coach can do, to hire a staff. And by the way, I will always believe, unless he says otherwise, he's kind of been working on a staff for months. I think he kind of thought the obvious that he was going to become a head coach after this year. And so I think he's touched base with a whole lot of people way before he became the head coach of Kentucky. Hey, if this happens, it would be almost illogical to think otherwise. It would, but you still have to get it done. You still have to narrow it down, right? And you might have had 3 choices and whatever, and I bet he had a long, long list. I would love to hear his conversation, how do you do these kinds of things. I think it's fascinating. I think it's a great lesson in managing. So here's clip number 4. The obvious. Hey, how are you handling this double role?
Yeah, I mean, it's not easy. Dan has done it before, so I'm leaning on him. Tosh is in it as well, so it is what it is. I mean, we are extremely focused on this game, number one, because this game is the most important thing for us right now, and we have to make sure that we are pouring into these players that have poured so much into this program here at Oregon. So that's really currently, right now in this moment, where my main focus is. If you let it get to you, it can be an issue. I've chosen not to let it get to me and focus on the task at hand. And when I need to delegate to, University of Kentucky, I do that. But when I'm here at Oregon in the building, all focus is on the Ducks and winning this first playoff game.
Really good stuff, by the way. Tosh, who's referring to, is the defensive coordinator, who's now the head coach at Cal. How about this, Jimmy? You got 2 coordinators that have taken head coaching job, and a number of assistants are leaving too. I don't know who's going to have the most openings in any top 25 staff. Without knowing, I'd bet a cup of coffee there'll be nobody close to Oregon. I mean, guys get poached from top 25 staffs all the time, more so than other places. It's just normal stuff. But, Jimmy, it's crazy. I haven't added up. I think there's 5 or 6, and I'm just throwing that number out there, and I might be low, but it's nuts. Your Dan, he's got to have a Rolodex. It's got to be unbelievable. And guys love to coach with him because of the person that he is. And the second thing, too, you got all that money. And so if you're a good coach, the odds of you succeeding are even better at Oregon. And that's why I said, as impressive as it is what he's done, as impressive as it is, what he did at USTA is even more impressive because they didn't have the money. I know they're playing schools on that level and stuff like that, and it's a different level in Oregon, totally different level and all, and that kind of stuff. They had a hell of a staff. He did an unbelievable job with so much less resources, which it's incredible. Now at Oregon, he's got every resource in the world. Is he going to have as many resources at Kentucky as he has at Oregon? No. Does that mean he can't win here? No, it doesn't mean he can't win here. Is that a shot against Kentucky? No, because it's Oregon and Nike money. It's Oregon and Nike money. Jimmy, there can't be 5 schools in the country that have as much money as Oregon. You have to agree with that wholeheartedly.
Oh, yeah.
And is it 3? I mean, I don't know. Is it 3?
I wouldn't bet that there's more than 3. If there is, Oregon's got to be number 3 or 4 in that.
I'm sorry for stepping on it, Jimmy. Do you remember when that video came out, when they had their new complex? It was like Star Wars. It was unbelievable. And I have this vision in my head. They even had these humongous lounge chairs that would fit any offensive or defensive lineman with plenty of room to spare. I'd never seen chairs like that. And it's not like there were 1 or 2 of them. Whatever was needed, or matter of fact, I don't know why anybody basically saying no to them. With the coaching staff, with the facilities, and all that kind of stuff. And yet, Stein said they often didn't get the first or second guy during his press conference here, which I thought was fascinating, by the way. And he said, look, it's relationships and that kind of thing. That soundbite really stuck out to me when he was here. So, yeah. Is this crazy? We're going to switch to baseball, Jimmy?
The hot stove is on. I can feel it.
Man, and I love Hal McCoy. Anybody's listening? I love Hal McCoy. Been covering the Reds for over 50 years. If there's another human being living who's been in the media, who has more stories, I'd like to meet that person. I love Hal. I just love him. And he's no filter as it gets. And sarcasm, still writing at, 85, 86? I always forget. Whatever it is, God bless him. Hey, don't forget, this holiday season, give the gift of adventure with Quantrell Subaru. Right now, during the 2025 Subaru Share the Love event. That's right, Share the Love event. Subaru will donate $250 to one of 5 amazing nonprofits, including, this is really cool, it's helped so many people, the Hope Center. And Quantrell Subaru is stepping up in a big way. More than doubling that, donating $550 for every new Subaru purchased or leased now through January 2nd. Be part of the community and help make a difference during the 2025 Share the Love event. That's the 2025 Share the Love event at Quantrell Subaru. Learn more at QuantrellSubaru.com. Don't forget about their Cadillacs and their first-class cars. Don't forget about the Volvo. And we have the VC60. My wife loves it. It's a hybrid. 41 miles you get before you start using gas. And the hybrid is saving us money. Probably about a couple car payments a year, which I find interesting, including me trying to figure out what the electricity is. Very impressive. But what's even more impressive is the car. It is so smooth. It's amazing. So the Quantrell family of dealerships, wonderful people. They've taken care of us for well over a decade. I trust them. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment? Hit the text line, 859-381. This holiday season, give the gift of adventure with Quantrell Subaru. Right now, the 2025 Subaru Share the Love event. Subaru will donate $250 to one of 5 amazing nonprofits, including the Hope Center. And Quantrell Subaru is stepping up in a big way, more than doubling that, donating a total of $550 for every new Subaru purchased or leased now through January 2nd. Be part of the community and help make a difference through the 2025 Share the Love event at Quantrell Subaru. Learn more at QuantrellSubaru.com.
My name is Terry Schultz, CEO for the Rutherford County Area Habitat for Humanity. Republic Bank has really been a game changer. They have invested not only financially, but time to really listen so that we can move our mission forward. What I like about Republic Bank is they've come in asking, what are your needs? And I don't know that you get that any other place.
That's Terry's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank. Time to thrive. Member FDIC.
Ho, ho, ho.
What are you doing, Uncle Rick?
Looking at these twinkle lots, 250 strands of lots, 100 individual bulbs per strand for a grand total of 25,000 twinkle lots.
Well, it looks like you're not quite ready for the holidays yet. Here at Clark's Pop and Shop, we are. We have 5-hour energy shots, buy 2, get 1 free, and Mike and Ike or Hot Tamales theater box candy, 2 for $2.
Maybe I should wrap up my lots so I can get over to Clark's Pop and Shop.
Uncle Rick, the little lights aren't blinking.
I know, Carl. I know.
Happy holidays from the Clark family.
Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
Talking baseball, Klazuski, Campanella, talking baseball. The man and Bobby Fella, the Scooter, the Barber, and the Nuke.
The there's a few things there. It's not just one answer fits all with him. One, I think I probably need to do a better job of finding days for him to get off his legs. I didn't do a very good job of that. And I respect the fact how much he wants to play, and I need to probably do a better job of monitoring that, and I will. The second thing is every throw he makes, because he's so long levered, even his legs, that if he doesn't do it right, it leads to a problem. And everybody talks about wanting to move him off short. He's 23 years old, and if we can just get him to be more consistent, then we're looking at the best player in baseball. So that's our goal.
Yeah.
Welcome back. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM and 92.5 FM. There's nobody living that I think it's more apropos to use this introduction of talking baseball, as we just heard Francona talking about Ellie. Now the one, the only, the great, and thank God he's healthy again, Hal McCoy. Hello, Hal.
Hello, Alan. How you doing, my friend?
Great. Hearing your voice makes me feel better. Seriously, it's like, I meditate. Now I feel like I'm doing my third meditation just by hearing your melodious voice.
I don't know about the melodious part, but I do have a voice.
This just broke. I just saw this. Let's go into this first. Aaron Harang, Brandon Phillips, Lou Piniella, Reggie Sanders. All
Yes.
now part of the 2006 Reds Hall of Fame. Your thoughts?
I think it's wonderful. I wonder why it took so long to get Lou Piniella in and why it took so long to get Reggie Sanders in. Brandon Phillips certainly belongs, and Harang had some good years with the Reds. He might be, a little suspect, but he was the best they had at one time. So, yeah, it's a good class.
Why? I'm with you. When I saw Piniella's name, I'm going, what the blank? He should have been in. You know what? I should know this, and I don't. How many years before they will put you in the Reds Hall of Fame?
I don't know if there is a number. I've never heard one. If there is, Brandon Phillips hasn't been gone that long. Certainly not as long as Piniella has been gone, and Harang and Reggie Sanders goes way back. So no, I have never heard what the waiting period is. I think it's just when they decide to put somebody in.
I think it's disconcerting and embarrassing that Piniella's not already in quite a long time ago.
No, absolutely. I mean, he was the man in the 1990s, and just a great manager and one of my all-time favorites. Did I ever tell you the story about the conversation I had with him after he threw first base?
I don't believe so, and if you have, please say it again.
Well, as we know, Lou Piniella was upset with a call at first base by umpire Dutch Rennert, so he ran out to first base and grabbed first base and threw it into right field, and unhappy with his distance, he went out and picked it up and threw it again. So about 2 weeks later, I'm sitting in Lou's office, and we're by ourselves, and the situation came up again, and we started discussing it, and he said, "You know what, Hal? After I did that, my wife wouldn't speak to me for a week. And if I'd have known that, I'd have done it sooner."
No. You haven't told
that. Was Lou.
Oh, it does.
That was Lou.
Stuff I've read. I mean, I talked to him once or twice. I don't know Lou Piniella, but I think I know him because I loved him as a Yankee and all that kind of stuff. You know, the beauty of your reporting. And I think the public will enjoy the inside of this. So, the night it happened, he's not going to tell you that. And the day after,
no.
Steamed. But 2 weeks later, when you're sitting around and you're smoking a cigar and it's 4:00 in the afternoon and you're the only one in there and Lou trusts you, he's going to tell you a story about that. Have you gotten thousands of stories that way that 2 weeks later or a year later, you get something where you knew you weren't going to get the answer when it happened, but later on you got a great story just because of a flippant remark? That's the beauty of really good reporting.
Yeah, absolutely. Jack McKeon was great about that, and Lou is great about that. And you brought up, Brandon Phillips going into the Hall of Fame. Remember the big fight they had with the St. Louis Cardinals?
I do.
Well, I started that one. Phillips was not had been hurt and was not playing, and the Cardinals were coming to town. So I asked Brandon if he was going to play, and he said, "Are you kidding me? The Cardinals are coming in, those whiny little bitches. I'm going to play." I said, "Do you want me to write that?" He said, "Yes." So I wrote it. The next day, the Cardinals come to town. Phillips goes up to bat. He taps Molina, the catcher's shin guard. He whips off his match. And the fight is on. And I thought, oh, boy, I am going to be in trouble now. He's going to deny saying that. And, I'm going to have to pay for it. So after the game, Phillips comes up to me and taps me on the shoulder and says, "Great story." So that's probably what he wanted to happen, probably to fire up the team. And it worked.
And it's okay to use the media, and it was okay if I was used if I got a good story out of it and it was legitimate.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I asked permission for him to write it, and he said, "Absolutely, write it." So I did, and that's what happened.
You just said the second thing about reporting that I think people listening, it's a clue, because I have done the same thing. Somebody tells you something that's different if it's on tape, in front. But if somebody tells you something, and because you have a relationship, matter of fact, I've done this a number of times the last few months with a radio show, more and more actually, as more sources are popping up from the good old days and new days. It's just interesting what's happening with my show, and I appreciate it tremendously. And I have said to people, are you okay with me saying this? Even though they've told me that. And there have been a couple of times, how would you say it? And I say it, and I said, look, I'm not going to say blank, blank, blank. That remains private, but I'll say blank, blank, blank. And I'm starting to get this back, and it makes me feel really good. I trust you. Go ahead. And
that's the way to do it.
Yeah, you were trusted. I always want you and Dick Hoopswise to get together, because you guys you're so similar with your ability to get relationships supreme with coaches and with you managers and that kind of stuff. And he had a rule that because then traveling on the road with basketball like he did, you often, back in the good old days, you often ate with a coach or had a drink with a coach or that kind of stuff. And he had a rule, and these coaches knew. Some of these guys, he's known for 30, 40, 50 years, that anything that happened in a bar over dinner, the recorder's off and it's 100% off the record. He said, I never broke it. And he said, first of all, it's the right thing to do. And second of all, I got so many extra stories because of it, because these guys trusted me.
Absolutely. I felt the same way. I mean, I spent time away from the ballpark with Lou Piniella and with Jack McKeon, just time and time again, and they would tell you stuff, and you didn't use it. And if they did say something, you would later say, is it all right if I use this? And if they said no, you didn't use it. If they said yes, you had a great story.
Yeah, and it's okay not to use it. You got to give your word. Okay, I want to ask you a question. Obviously, Joe Morgan's basement in the history of the Reds. I get it. I get it. Any idiot could say that, and I'm not any idiot, but that's okay. But defensively speaking only, is Brandon Phillips the greatest defensive second baseman in the history of the Cincinnati Reds?
No doubt about it. Absolutely. He made some plays that were just unbelievable. And I used to watch him during infield practice when he would field balls behind his back, between his legs, flip balls behind his back to second base on double plays. He was just unbelievable. Yeah, he was by far the best. I know Joe Morgan has a reputation and was very good, but he was not in Brandon Phillips' class. Brandon was the best I ever saw.
Is Doug Flynn a better second baseman defensively than Joe Morgan?
I think he was. I think he was one of the better second basemen that I saw. He didn't get to play much, but when he played, he was excellent. Yeah, he was very, very good. And he and Darrell Chaney. Chaney didn't get to play much, but when he and Darrell Chaney played together, it was a great double play combination. Those two guys were excellent in the field.
They were like vacuum cleaners, and Doug, as many old-timers know, won a Gold Glove with the New York Mets, which is even tougher to do because, Doug didn't hit a ton, but without him wouldn't be there, but he was such a smart baseball player and such a great teammate and that kind of thing. You know what he told me one time? He said,
What's that?
his dad, Bobby, told me this. I was close with Bobby, his dad, who was a great player, by the way, back in the day.
Yes, he was.
Told me one time, he said, if Doug could have hit like me and if I could have fielded like Doug, he said, if Doug could have hit like me, he said he'd have started in Major League Baseball forever. But then he looked at me and said, I was a pretty good fielder, but I wasn't as good as Doug.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the fact that Doug Flynn did win a Gold Glove with the Mets is pretty significant because too often Gold Glovers they consider their offense too, which should not be, but too many times that weighs into it, and it should be just their defensive prowess. And the fact that Doug won it, he had to impress a lot of people.
In the Hall of Fame, Hal McCoy, kind enough to join us. Do you know the story about Doug's father, Bobby, playing with Hank Aaron? Do you know that story?
No, I do not.
So Bobby Flynn, back in the day, played shortstop, and I believe it was an all African-American team except for him. And if I'm wrong, I apologize, but I'm like 99.9% sure. And I know you know this. You know it much better than me. Back in the day when Hank Aaron started playing baseball, he held his hands the wrong way on the bat, which I remember as
cross-handed.
Cross-handed, that I've been told as a little kid, if you do that, you're probably going to break your wrist. And he was so strong that it didn't bother him. His hands and wrists were like granite. Back then, Bobby told me he played against Hank Aaron when he was rail thin, and that was during the time period he held his hands on the bat the wrong way. That, to me, was a wild story.
Yeah, they didn't change him until the minor leagues. I mean, after they signed him, he was still batting cross-handed.
Yeah. I know you.
Unbelievable.
I know you've seen the picture of Hank Aaron about to go on the train, leaving his family to go in the minor leagues.
Right, yeah.
And his mom.
Famous picture.
Yeah, and his mom gave him a ham sandwich. That's all she gave him because they didn't have anything. That was a ham sandwich for the ride. And he was so thin, It was unbelievable.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, let's get to the Reds, Hal McCoy. I know you're going to be honest with me. There's not 1,000 to 1 that you thought that Schwarber was going to sign with the Reds. Yes or no?
The moment the season ended last year, and I can go back and call it up, I wrote in my blog, Kyle Schwarber is a free agent. There is talk now that the Reds would like to sign him, and I said, there is no way. I said, he will re-sign with the Philadelphia Phillies. He's not leaving the Phillies. And I even made a wild guess, and I hit it right on the button. I said that he would re-sign with the Phillies for 5 years for $150 million. And I was astounded when they made the announcement that that's what he signed for, because I just threw that out there, and I just happened to be right. But to me, I don't think the Reds really thought that they were going to sign him. I think it was a ploy to tell the fans, hey, look, we tried, but we didn't make it. If they were serious, when they offered $125 million, when they heard that the Baltimore Orioles are offering $150 million, the Phillies are offering $150 million, they would have offered another $25 million. They would get all that back if Schwarber came to Cincinnati and tickets sold, concessions, shirts, and Schwarber stuff that they sell at the stands. They would get that money back. So I don't think they were serious. And to make it even more plain, after they didn't sign him, they came out, Nick Kroll came out and said, well, we're taking that $125 million back. We're not going to invest it in any other players. It was just for Schwarber. And they knew that he would not take a hometown discount. So to me, there was no chance he was ever going to sign for the Reds.
Amen. You know what ticks me off? I don't know him, but I've seen interviews. I'm assuming you've talked to him a number of times. Seems like a really nice man. And now the Reds fans, so many are mad at him. They are going to boo him, and he's going to take crap when he comes to Cincinnati, and it's not his fault. And I think that really sucks.
Yeah, I agree with you 110%. He is one of the nicest guys that you will ever meet. very, very down to earth. I mean, he is so down to earth, so country, that he should be carrying a pitchfork instead of a baseball bat. But that's just the way he is, and that would be a shame if they do that. You are absolutely right. It's not his fault. He wanted to stay with the Phillies. Why would he want to come to the Reds and play for a loser? If they spent $125 million on him, they would not have any money to fill players around to make them a winner. Because Crawl even said they were not going to increase the payroll, which is $113 million. If they're going to give him $30 million, that doesn't leave much to play with. And Schwarber wants to play with the winner. He said that. He's got a chance to do that with the Phillies. He would not have a chance to do that with the Reds. So he did what's best for him, and it would be a shame if the fans took it out on him.
There have been, and Twitter's not there, and then some people. But there have been some really nasty comments. You know what? He should have taken 125. Who the hell are you or anybody? Not you, meaning you, Al, to say
right.
$25 million. And by the way, I am normally, because I don't want to be a hypocrite, I am normally against these long contracts, especially at this age. I was all for giving him $20 million more, whatever it took, because I agree with you. Look, the day Shohei Ohtani signed, I said that $700 million contract was nothing, literally nothing. With all the money that the Dodgers are making with the TV stuff in Japan and stuff being sold and all that kind of stuff, they got him for nothing, literally nothing. And the Dodgers' money is different than the Reds. We all know that. But I think Schwarber would,
right.
if they were flirting with the playoffs, you would start seeing some sellout crowds and the fun being back at the stadium. He would have paid for a ton of his salary, and they had this opportunity, and they blew it, and it was disingenuous. Yep. It was totally disingenuous, and to be this stupid, not understanding in your management that if you really went for it, let's say you offered him $160 million, okay, and he stays with the Phillies $150. Which then again, as you know, the players' union gets on your case for accepting less money. People don't understand that. Jump your case, whether anybody likes it or not, that is baseball. And they offered more, and he says no. Okay. You know, where's he got a better shot of a ring? And I got one more, and then I'm going to shut up. I believe, and I don't know this. I don't know this. I believe because he was a free agent, I believe the Phillies only wanted to go 4 years, and I think because of the offers out there, they were forced to do something they didn't want. But Dave Gronkowski, who is as good as any president, general manager running a baseball team as anybody in the last 30 years, and I bet you agree with this, said, okay, we don't want to do it, but we want to win, so damn it, we're just going to do it, where some other teams like the Reds will go, we don't want to do it, so we're not going to do it. Tell me what you agree and disagree.
I agree. He'll be 37, 38 years old at the end of that contract, and the Phillies had said that they would prefer going 4 years, but they don't want to use him. And when Baltimore came up with 5 years, the Pittsburgh Pirates actually offered more. They offered 4 years at $125 million, which is like $37 million a year instead of $30 million. But like I say, Schwarber wanted to win. He wanted to stay in Philadelphia, and so that's where he is. And as we talked about, him in Cincinnati, they would have. They said they want to break even. They would have made money. I don't know. They make money anyway, but they would have made so much more.
Tito said something that I didn't like. We played the soundbite coming in.
I heard it.
That he needs to do a better job of resting Ellie. And I don't want to use the word wimp. Let me use the word give. Let me use the word give in. You're the blank manager. You're going in the freaking Hall of Fame. You're as respected as any person who is a manager today, yesterday, and the day before. Ellie didn't want to sit down. You put your arm around him. Son, you're sitting down. Ellie had a groin problem. He did nothing for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. And I blame Crawl and the management. The management were a bunch of dumbasses. You sit him down, you put him on the disabled list, you get him 100% healthy. It then takes him 10 days to get back in shape, whatever that is, and he'd end up with better numbers. He couldn't hit. He hit one home run for a long time period. This is so stupid. Management has to be smart enough. If your player is honestly hurt, and they did the same thing with Spencer Steer. He couldn't throw a ball from the outfield, yet they keep on playing him. And then for 6 weeks or whatever the hell it was, he did nothing. That's his fault for not sitting his fanny down and getting him healthy. And at the end of the year, I heard an interview he did. He said, one of the things I'm going to do is get my shoulder healthy. What? You hit the ball pretty well for the last couple months, and your shoulder still isn't healthy because the Reds were too damn stupid not to sit you out and get your shoulder healthy again. Look, the Reds' biggest enemy isn't the lack of money they spend. That's number two. They have to be smart. They have to be as smart as Tampa Bay, and they're not very smart.
No, they are not, and I couldn't agree with you more. When I heard that Ellie was hurt and he was still playing and he was not producing, I lost a little bit of respect, and I have the utmost respect for Tito Francona, and I wondered if this came from the front office. And if it is, I lose more respect if he listens to him by them telling him if Ellie wants to play, let him play. We're not drawing many people in the crowds anyway. With Ellie in there, at least we'll have a drawing crowd that will get some people. And they risk hurting the guy permanently. I mean, he could have really aggravated that injury and ruined his career. And yet they run him out there every day. He's not producing. But, hey, we get a few more fans, so let's stick him out there.
I would bet without knowing that it came from management above. And Tito
I agree.
Even though he's going to the Hall of Fame, and he might disagree privately, but one of the reasons he keeps on getting jobs, he never embarrasses the people above him. He honestly states his case, and then he ends up doing what they want to do. And sometimes he convinces them otherwise. I do believe that. But he's a good boy. He knows how to do it. And I say good boy, I say it with loving kindness. But this is just, how come I keep on telling you and I could run the Reds better?
Because it is so easy. It's common sense.
It really.
And,
if a guy,
they just don't seem to have common sense down there. Every time they do something, they do it wrong. It just drives me crazy.
Yet they're doing a pretty good job drafting pitchers and shortstops. It's interesting. Somebody, in there is smart. All right, Hal, what else is on your mind that we didn't touch? I'm about out of time, but I loved your baseball thing about Babe Ruth. So you want to go for that, or you have something else that's in your cranium?
No, we've covered it pretty much. Can I tell you one quick Lou Piniella story about how I started the fight with Rob Dibble?
Oh, please.
Well, Rob Dibble didn't pitch one night when he should have, and I asked Lou after the game, why didn't you pitch Dibble? Lou said he told me before the game he had a little twinge in his elbow. So I went out to Dibble and I said, what's wrong with your elbow? He said, what do you mean? I said, the manager said you didn't pitch because you had a twinge in your elbow. Well, the manager's a liar. So I went back into Lou. I said, Lou, your closer just called you a liar. And before I got another word out of my mouth, Lou jumped out of his chair, ran in the clubhouse, jumped on Dibble's back, and the fight was on, and I had a great story.
Now, how long before Dibble and Piniella talked to you?
Piniella talked to me the next day, and Dibble was kind of quiet for a couple of days, but Dibble, he would get mad at me all the time and say he wasn't going to talk to me, and then 2 days later he would talk to me. He just loved the publicity, and he didn't want to not get that publicity, so he would talk to you.
God bless you, Hal. You know what you're like to me? You're like my favorite old uncle.
Emphasis on the old part.
Well, Hal, the truth is, I might be your favorite. I don't know if I'm your favorite, but I might be your favorite old nephew.
You got that right.
I love you. God bless you. I'm glad to see your health is okay. And I wouldn't even say on the air how you describe what you went through because I cringed. But cringed. I know you're not supposed to say it, but I think anybody can figure out a joke without the specifics, and that's okay. But bless you, and your voice sounds strong again. And that I was looking for that right away. How's his voice? Oh, it's strong. So have a merry Christmas. Tell your much better half I passed that on as well. God bless you, and I enjoy every second of our conversations.
Same to you, my friend. Anytime, you know that, and have a great holiday season.
Thank you. Hal McCoy, the great, great, great Hal McCoy. Jimmy, I love the man. Is that goofy to say? I love the man.
I don't think that's goofy at all. I could listen to him just tell baseball stories for 2 hours. Every time he comes on, I feel the same way.
So, we're looking for the clip of the day, and I'm always, unless I forget, which has happened a few times, I've gotten a better habit to write things down. There are 3 different things from this that we could absolutely use. It's just Gene Abel coming up next. Gene. Gene, I don't know how the hell you're going to follow this. I don't know. And then another no filter guest, Daryl Bird after that. Terry Page. Terry Page. Not a very good, a great licensed massage therapist. Check her out. She's helping me tremendously. 859-373-0578. 859-373-0578. Please use my name. And she can help you. Text her or call her. Check her out. Terry Page, Alan Cutler, Gene Abel coming up next. 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment? Hit the text line, 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313.
Ho, ho, ho.
What are you doing, Uncle Rick?
Looking at these twinkle lots, 250 strands of lots, 100 individual bulbs per strand, for a grand total of 25,000 twinkle lots.
Well, it looks like you're not quite ready for the holidays yet, but here at Clark's Pep & Shop, we are. We have M&M, Milky Way, Snickers, or Twix share-size candy bars, 2 for $4.50, or Uncle Ray's potato chips, 8-ounce bags, 2 for $6.
Maybe I should wrap up my lots so I can get over to Clark's Pep & Shop.
Uncle Rick, the little lights aren't blinking.
I know, Carl. I know.
Happy holidays from the Clark family.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. This holiday season, give the gift of adventure with Quattrell Subaru. Right now, the 2025 Subaru Share the Love event. Subaru will donate $250 to one of 5 amazing nonprofits, including the Hope Center. And Quattrell Subaru is stepping up in a big way, more than doubling that, donating a total of $550 for every new Subaru purchased or leased now through January 2nd. Be part of the community and help make a difference through the 2025 Share the Love event at Quattrell Subaru. Learn more at QuattrellSubaru.com.
I'm Kathy Binkaman. Over the holiday, there was an attempted fraud attack. My personal banker, Mary Rose, and I networked together, and the first thing that I thought of was I have to text her. And it was just within the next few minutes, there was an entire team that came together collectively. And that's just not the type of service that you typically get from your bank.
That's Kathy's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank. Time to thrive. Member FDIC.
Houchins Insurance Group is proud to partner with Auto Owners Insurance, a company that provides opportunity for independent agents to make insurance simple for their clients, offering risk management services that range from a renter's policy for your college student to home and auto coverage for your entire family. Houchins Insurance Group assures you that nobody works harder to keep you protected from life's uncertainties. Reach out to AJ Boss or Zach Bennett at 859-263-2771 to see if Auto Owners Insurance makes sense for you.
W223CV Lexington. ESPN Sports Radio 1300 and 92.5. WLXG Lexington and LM Communications Broadcasting Station. The only no-filter sports show in Kentucky. It's the Alan Cutler Show with award-winning TV sportscaster Alan Cutler.
Yeah, I won't hang up until you tell me you love me.
All right, I love you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it from Alan Cutler. He said he loves Sean Woods.
I feel the same. I've always thought you were absolutely the best and always enjoyed being around you. And
everything you said was absolutely 100% correct.
Man, is this the great Alan Cutler? Is this the infamous Alan Cutler?
Of all the broadcast television people that I've encountered, you are among the absolute elite.
Cut to the chase has a 5-length lead past the 16th pole. Cut to the chase. Victor Espinoza to win it.
Continue doing what you're doing. You're really good at it.
Be nice, America. Let's have a great day.
Win number 9. That's the future. That's the only goal I have.
Okay. We're back, baby. We're back.
They look like kittens more than wildcats, in my opinion.
Hello, Mark. Mr. Pope, 1996.
Oh, my gosh.
What?
Hey, let's give it up right here. This is my guy.
Yes! I'm so happy to see you. Hey, gratitude is a skill, guys. But if you practice, it will give you a joyful life regardless of your circumstances.
I mean, I wouldn't be in the position I am without these players, without these coaches, without Dan. I mean, I would feel like a complete fraud if I left these guys throughout this playoff run and this opportunity in front of us.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Get it to Gene Abel again. I have no idea how you're going to top Hal McCoy.
I'm not even going to try to, but you keep setting me up like this, Alan. I think it's a plan. What do you have, a chart on your wall? Say, who can I get in the prime guest before Gene Abel? But he's good. Very good. And man, does he, the stories that guy can tell.
You know, I wish I could say I was smart enough to do this to you, but when it ends up happening, when I put the list together, I chuckle without telling you. So maybe it's subconscious.
Well, I'm glad you're chuckling, buddy.
Gene Abel, outstanding retired sports editor, Lexington Herald leader, kind enough to join us. I don't know if you were listening early on. I'm not going to do it as long. When I talked about Cutter and what Adam Luck had said and what I know. I need to repeat it anyway. The audience changed, so I'm going to do the headline service, and then I'm going to turn my mic off so I attempt not to step on you. Adam Luckett is very good with KSR. I've told him to his face. I like reading him. I think he's really, really good. This not negative, but we all have different opinions, different sources, and all that kind of thing. He said on KSR today that Cutter is the guy. I'm not saying Cutter isn't the guy. I am saying Cutter's looking at tape, all that kind of stuff, but he's not signed. He's not signed. Stein has to do what's best for him. That's cold, but that's the truth. I don't care if you're a Kentucky boy or not. You know, his fanny's on the line to become a big-time winner here, and you can't count out. I don't care who it is. You got to do whatever you think is best. Cutter wants to be here. I think Cutter would leave if they brought in some, and I don't know this. I don't know this, but I'm using this example. If DJ Langley would show up, I think he would be gone in the next day or two. I think in the last 24, 48 hours, as you know, because you follow this stuff, even though you retired, a lot of really big-name quarterbacks have put their name in the portal. I think some of them already know their destination. I think some have it down to a couple and are negotiating and that kind of stuff. And I don't think there's any huge surprises with any names going in there who haven't received offers and phone calls from agents way before they put their name in. All this stuff you know. And so what I'm saying, I'm not saying that Cutter's leaving. I'm not saying he's staying. I'm not saying he won't be the guy, and I hope he is. But I am saying if a DJ Langley or the kid from Nebraska, whose name escapes me again, if somebody like that would end up coming to Lexington, it's not a shot, and you know what, that Cutter's going to stay. It wouldn't. And by the way, if anybody wants to get mad at Cutter for doing what's best for himself, if anyone's mad at Cutter if he'd be set up as a backup guy, shame on you for doing that. Be that as it may, I think there's a great shot that Cutter is the guy next year. But Adam said he's the guy, and it's his team, and I don't buy it. I got sore. I don't buy it. I don't buy it at all. That doesn't mean I'm saying he's not going to be the guy. I'm saying it ain't done yet because the contract isn't signed. And if you're Stein, you have to be smart. And in your opinion, whether I agree with it or not, whether you agree with it or not, you got to get the best kids in here. Dylan Riola am I pronouncing that right? Or from Nebraska?
I'm not sure if that's the right pronunciation or not.
Yeah, I knew the Dylan part, but I wasn't sure. Viola, Chip Rupp, thank you for sending that to me. Anyway, your comment of what everything I said.
First of all, I hope Cutter is a quarterback just because it's nice to have a Kentucky kid. Although this is off the chart here for a second. I'm so tired of them calling him a native of Lexington. Cutter is from Hodgesville, Kentucky. He's not from Lexington. I hope he's go ahead.
That bothers me too, and I haven't. And I'm glad you did. Go. I'm going to shut my mic off, G.
Okay. I hope it works out for him because it'd be nice to see the Kentucky kid do it. In the end, Will Stein has to find the best quarterback who will win football games for him. It doesn't matter. He has to find the best center, best edge rusher, best receivers. His job is to find the best players he can. If Will Stein wins 4 games next year and Cutter Bowley is the quarterback, the fans will be lukewarm and say, oh, that's okay. Let's give you a little more time, see what happens. If he wins 8 games and Johnny Bob is the quarterback, they're going to be taking 30,000 people to some bowl games. In the end, it's going to boil down for Will Stein and the future of the program on how many games they win. And if they win it with Cutter Boley, that's even better. But he has to find the best quarterback that fits his system that he can win the most games with. That's it. And I don't care what position it is.
We couldn't agree more. Now, let me throw this at you.
That's scary again. But anyway.
That's what I said in the monologue, except I took longer to say it with some other things. You're a wise guy. So let me put it to you this way. And I never thought I'd be able to say this. The coaching in Lexington, Kentucky, with a new coach and a new OC, is better training quarterbacks than it was last year at Florida, than it was last year at Nebraska. Let me go one more, Gene, and then I'm going to have to shut my mic off again. I really believe, I know this is true. Not everything is about money. I know that people turn down money. They're still making a lot of money to be either where they want, or they like the coaching better, or they like their teammates better. I know it happens all the time. Now, are there a lot of times it's only about money? Absolutely. My point is this. If I'm the agent for the kid from Nebraska, I'm sorry, I've watched him play and I can't think of how to pronounce his name right. But if I'm the kid from Nebraska or I'm Langley and I'm the agent, I'm calling Stein because he's kind of like a quarterback whisperer. And his offensive coordinator, Sloan, guess what? He did a hell of a job with the Heisman Trophy winner, Daniels, a couple of years ago, who's now outfielder with Washington. And I think Daniels, by the way, had everything there, but I think he helped them tremendously, and I've been told that neither here nor there. So if I'm one of the best quarterbacks or any of the great quarterbacks in the portal, I'm calling Stein. Who thought that I would think that the quarterback coaching here in Lexington, I don't know who's the best, but there can't be 10 places better. There really can't be. And I mean that sincerely. And so I think, depending upon money and how they judge stuff, there could be all kinds of options out there. That's not negative to Cutler. That's not negative to Stein. It's who is the best. Now, I want you to think for a second. Can you think of 10 better places to train a quarterback than right now in Lexington, Kentucky?
Well, that's going to need to be the case because that's why he's brought here. I mean, he's a quarterback coach. He's an offensive coach. And I don't think that anybody would disagree with that. The question's how they're going to do on defense and what kind of concepts they're going to have and how they're going to play. But yes, it has to be. This is a very attractive place for a quarterback right now. You mentioned DJ Langley, who was he may have been the number one quarterback in the country when he came out of high school.
Yes,
but if you watched that game last year, and this is coming from my uneducated football eyes, Cutter Boley was a better quarterback. Now, and that's with different coaching staffs on both sides. But Cutter Boley was much better than DJ Langley on that day. Maybe he's not better overall, but Will Stein, that is a very attractive place for a quarterback going into the portal.
Gene, what year did you start covering Kentucky? 1971.
1978.
In your wildest dream, did you ever think, you might think, I do now, and expound how you think that Kentucky would be a destination place for a bright young quarterback to learn an offensive system and to improve themselves mentally and physically to make the NFL? Mummy did some great things. He really did. There's no question about it. Great things with quarterbacks. Tim Couch was Tim Couch, but he helped tremendously. But this is, I think, different.
Well, and I think I've said this on the show before, and I'm not saying this is the right way and wrong way because you can win in football in either way. But since going even way back before I was covering, if you go back to the late 60s, Kentucky has hired two coaches whose background was really almost primarily offensive, Stein and Hal Mumme. Hal Mumme treated defense and special teams like they were a virus. Stein, I don't think, is going to do that. And I'm not saying those were bad hires, but over the years, and they're better coaches, Jerry Claiborne, Rich Brooks, obviously Stoops, those guys are strong backgrounds in defense. But one reason that's never been said is they've never had a guy come in with this kind of reputation. I mean, Hal had an offensive reputation, but wasn't the same as Stein because he was not doing it at the same level. So in my lifetime, they've never had a guy with this kind of offensive reputation and quarterback reputation. So no, I've never seen it before. And we'll see how, in 3 years, who knows if it could, that could grow and get bigger. That'd be the ideal thing for Kentucky if he develops another top quarterback. Then it just that momentum just rolls and they just keep being the place quarterbacks want to go. Then you may just get them out of high school.
I'm really worried about you. We're agreeing almost 90% of the time in the last 5-6 months.
Well, we didn't last time, but also that's all right. We're just evening it out a little bit now.
I think the last time was an aberration. Just heard.
Well, and we still got a few minutes here, so let's see what we can do.
I threw this at Jimmy, and it was my thought, but Jimmy said it first. Give him credit. Mashburn's comment about them playing like kittens, we're not taking out of the open until they play another game of this toughness. So, in other words, if they lose, let's say, just throwing out a number, 69-65 to Patino on Saturday, but they play tough. They play hard, they play tough, all that kind of stuff, and they play toughness, but lost. Just because you play tough, obviously, it doesn't mean you're going to win. They play tough. We're going to take it out of the open. But if they have a deep regression, then we're going to leave it in the open. I don't see why this toughness can't continue. And I think Mo Diabate is the most important person. I'm not saying other guys aren't important. I think he's the most important guy on this team because the entire temperature of the team changed with him. And even Lowe said he played harder because of Mo. And I think he has an infectious toughness personality, which makes you say, hey, it's not like he's 6'10". He's fighting among 3 and 4 guys to get the ball. Gosh darn it, blank, 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 blank. I better go on the floor and get the ball. Plus, I don't want Mo in my face because he's a New Yorker and a good guy, and he's not afraid to do that. And so I think he's totally changed the temperature of this particular team.
I hope you're right. I think he did in the game against Indiana. I was looking this morning, Mo in the first 2 games against the Pirate teams, Louisville and Michigan State, Mo had 17 points and 6 rebounds, 0 from 6 from 3. Against Indiana, 14 and 12. And what I liked, and he didn't shoot any threes, but his numbers completely changed. Indiana's not a big team. Indiana is a guard-driven team, especially offensively. They love to shoot the threes. They were not big. They were vulnerable to that. What I want to see is Mo have that impact against a physical, strong defensive team.
Fair. Very fair. And plus the other thing, he had 5 steals, which is goofy.
I mean, he clearly, although Garrison sort of energized it in a couple of minutes, and Lowe added a lot, but Mo was huge. And if Mo can bring that in a big game against a team that's going to play physical, I think that would be huge. And I love the fact, as I said, that he didn't shoot threes. He was 0 for 6 in those other 2 games, and then he didn't shoot one the other day, and he's much more effective. He doesn't need to be wandering around out there.
Yeah, and some of the threes that he missed, and if you missed, you missed, but they weren't very pretty.
Because he's not a pretty 3-point shooter, and he wasn't at Alabama.
Yeah, although his numbers at Alabama were pretty good, but it's a very small sample. His numbers, I'm trying to remember what it was at Alabama.
I'm not sure they were on 3-point shots, but anyway.
Jimmy, do me a favor if you can. Can you look up his threes at Alabama? I thought they were good, but a small sample size. And I suspect that the threes he took were wide open based upon how Alabama plays. And the other thing is, and I didn't say it on the air, but Dick Hoopsweiss on the show, he said it without me saying anything. Privately, I told him before the season, but I did not say it on my show. I just got to be fair and honest, that I thought he'd be the best player on the team because of all the above that I'm talking about. And so this is not just coming just because of that game. It's kind of what I thought in August. It's kind of what I thought in June and July, and I didn't say it. So it is what it is, just being straight. Mo was 12 of 26 from threes last year.
Okay, so he took less than 1 a game.
Yeah, small sample. And 12 of 24 would be 50%. It's a small sample. But
right.
The point is this, I just love his toughness. They need a tough guy. They need a Charles Hurt. I'm not saying he's Charles Hurt. They need somebody like that, I think, desperately on this team for others to physically follow.
I think it's important to them, but I think that was a big win for them. They had to win that game. I want to see continued improvement, and they're going to have to get better offensively. I mean, against the 5 teams they played, they're hitting 38% from the field and 23% from three. I think that's got to get better. Now, I'm glad to see. It looks like maybe they're going to put their hat on defense. That's great. Again, Indiana was a long range shooting team where Kentucky generally under Pope struggled against offenses is when people can go to the hole and get by them. Indiana really wasn't a threat to that. Contrary to what Patino used to be, he's not a 3-point shooting coach now. They'll go to the hole. I'm interested to see how the defense stands up against St. John's. I don't think this is as big a must win. I think they had to win one of those 2 games, Indiana or St. John's. This one isn't a must win, but if he could win this one, playing this out, I think that would be huge.
By the way, that 12 for 26 is 46%. Again, tiny size at Alabama. Well, I said before the NC Central game that if they won 3 in a row, Central obviously given, and then Indiana and St. John's, which I did not predict because I said I had no idea. And I didn't know they would get this much better. Happy for them, but I didn't know. If they won those 3 games, they'd be back in the top 25. I believed it before the NC Central game, and I believe it now because a lot of the teams in the top 25 have lost a number of games.
I saw this in Ben Roberts, the excellent reporter for the Herald Leader story. I think it was today where Kentucky, I think, scoring 69 points against the 5 teams they played. Pope has not won a game at Kentucky scoring under 70.
That's correct.
And I think St. John's is giving up about 40% from the field. So this is I'm not sure it's a great matchup, but I think we're going to find out, as we have, find out more about them, and this would be a good test of how they stand up against a physical team that we know is well coached, and that coach is not going to want to lose to the pupil.
Oh, no, I couldn't agree with you more. You know what's interesting? I'm baffled by this, by the way. For Patino, for the 3-point guy, his 3-point shooting is not special. And I'm really surprised now he's been at St. John's this long that he has not recruited better shooting.
Now, I don't know if that's a change in his philosophy or if that's him adapting to what he thinks the type of player he can get at those schools, because he's, Alona and St. John's, at least the first year or two, he wasn't going to get the premier players. I don't know if that's Rick adapting, which we know Rick can really coach, or if it's a change of philosophy.
Well, what baffles me a little bit, and it could be, and I don't know, a change of philosophy. I don't see every one of his press conferences. Did I watch probably 7 or 8 of his press conferences last year? Yeah. And there were times he complained about the lack of shooting. So I put 2 and 2 together, and I've been wrong, and maybe it is a defensive style, that I assumed that he would go after better shooters since there were times he complained about shooting after games. But I do believe he's gone a bit more for defense. I absolutely, unequivocally believe it. But you know what? Like the Jenkins kid at Iona, like the Clayton kid at Iona, they're both in the NBA now. Some of those kids from Iona are in the NBA, and a couple of the other kids end up being really good. It is amazing the talent he got at Iona, by the way.
Oh, absolutely. But as a coach, there's not much that Rick does that amazes me at this point. I mean, as a coach, he's as good as it gets.
You know what? I should know this off the top of my head, but his record against his former players is actually very good, if I recall. It's very, very good.
That's not a surprise, is it?
And I used to know the number, and I was pausing because I thought maybe it popped in my head. It has not. It is absolutely unequivocally not.
And not just his former players. There's some other coaches, and one of them named Calipari, that I think he really wanted to beat, and it meant a lot. And he did. He struggled in that one, though. He struggled against Cal, which was a game he really wanted. In fact, I think that got to him in terms of. I know people at Louisville said he was not the same that week, and the players felt that when he coached against Cal.
I've heard the same thing, and I agree 100% because I think Patino thinks he can coach circles around Cal. I think he believes it in his heart. And I think he thought he should have recruited enough talent to beat him, and I think it did bother him, not a little, but tremendously. And also part of their weird, different relationships based upon stories we've heard, some of which I believe is true, some I believe are not, but there is something there. But they might be nice to each other when they see each other, but I think they're old enough that the contention part, I think, has probably wilted away, but there still is something there, and I think there'll always be something there.
Absolutely. It'd be great if 20 years from now we can say Mark Pope fits in the same category that Patino does now. But right now, Mark is in his second year at Kentucky, and Patino is a proven great coach.
Would you agree right now Arkansas is one of the top 3 teams in the Southeastern Conference?
Maybe top 5. I'd have to go through them. I mean, I'm not yet. We'll find out. I think Tennessee has a big game. They play Louisville tonight, right?
Yes.
I'm not Tennessee. I'm not sure about Alabama. Their schedule is just absolutely a killer. Yeah, I could see Arkansas maybe being the top 3. He's got a nice team.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does.
And he's got great guards. That's a big shocker, isn't it?
Yeah. I also think, I know a little bit about this and a lot of his guessing. I think he's more relaxed now than he has been a number of years.
They look like they may be. They haven't, they haven't gone through some of this. Well, I think earlier in the year, in one of their losses, they did where they down the stretch they looked tight and didn't. You saw some of the stuff you saw here, but that hadn't been the case lately. You're probably right. I mean, he should be.
Yeah, well, a couple things at the end. I think everybody knows how uptight he was, not just the last year, but the last few years. And then you go to a new situation at his age, no disrespect. You're going to a totally different world and it's new and you're figuring it out and that kind of stuff. And I think there's some normal heebie-jeebie tightness, that kind of thing. And now he's comfortable. He's been in Arkansas a couple of years. He's got his own system. He's left alone. There's left pressure, all that kind of stuff. And I think it's only human nature, even though he's coached for 1,000 years. And I say this with respect, not negativity.
I totally agree, and I think we all said at the time that Cal took the job that this could be a very good ending for both, and hopefully Kentucky can grow, and it'll be. I think it was time. Cal needed a change. Kentucky fans were ready for a change, whether that's right or wrong, but they were ready, and Cal had worn off.
A good way of putting it, worn off. I got about a minute. Want to throw the kind of together. I really enjoyed. I'm curious what you think, Barkley and Vital together. Vital's voice was much better than I anticipated because there have been other times. It's amazing how he keeps on coming back from cancer. He's living. It's amazing how that man is coming back from cancer and coming back from cancer and stuff like that. Yet the video of Barkley helping him to his chair, his legs are not the same, and it was kind of sad watching, but they were very good together. And Barkley, I'm throwing 3 things at you once or something like that. Barkley's analysis of Kentucky, take the first good shot and go bang the boards. Because he said they're not a good half-court offensive team. I thought that was pretty good as well. Your thoughts?
They were good together. They obviously genuinely enjoyed being together. The split screen still wore on me a little bit. There were times I'd get them off the screen to let them talk. Them helping Vital around was a little bit sad, but I mean, you got to love Charles. He's fascinating. I'm not sure how much college basketball he watches or follows. And 1 minute into the game, he sort of dissected UK, and then later in the game, he was criticizing the media for doing the same thing. But I love Charles, and he's fun, and I enjoyed listening to him, and it was good.
I related Barkley to Bobby Knight. You ready for this?
Okay.
They both do the same preparation for calling a college basketball game.
That I think that's very, very on target.
Anything else in your cranium sports-wise that we haven't said before I say goodbye? And thank you.
Yeah, let me say one thing.
Yeah,
okay. Well, I think we would all agree that the greatest coach in the history of University of Kentucky was Mr. Adolph Rupp, right? Most successful, greatest.
Yes.
Okay. If Craig Skinner goes out and wins a championship this year, does he move into number 2 when you're talking about success and sustainability?
Wow, Gene, I hadn't thought about that. Boy,
just a thought.
The worst thing about radio is dead air, right? And you made me.
I was watching him the other night, and I thought, my goodness, who has done more than this? I mean, the program wasn't anything. It's been every year, whatever, 19, 20 years he's been in the tournament. He would be a second. And I think you can make that case even if he doesn't win it this weekend. But that will give him 2 championships. This is a run.
I'm going to put him number 3, and you tell me if I'm biased. You're talking about the history of Kentucky.
That's correct. UK athletics.
UK athletics. Okay. Paul Bear Bryant, Rupp, Paul Bear Bryant, Patino, and if Skinner wins it this weekend, Skinner. Remember, Paul Bear Bryant won a national championship. That happened.
But Paul Bear Bryant was not at Kentucky 19 or 20 years. I understand if you're going to go on the legend that the guy eventually became, Paul Bear Bryant is up there, maybe a little above Adolph Rupp. But I'm talking about in the time they were Kentucky, and Bear did a wonderful job. But how many years was he here? I'm just saying, in the time they were at Kentucky, I think you could make a case for Craig Skinner moving into number 2.
Okay, we're going to disagree on that, and that's respectful. And remember, Paul Bear Bryant, what was it, 50-something games in a row Oklahoma had won?
Mm-hmm.
And won. And Bay Parilli left Kentucky as the number 1 passer in the history of the NC2A at the time.
Right.
And Grozer won the Outland Trophy, and Schnellenberger was an All-American, and
I'm not downplaying Bear. You can't. I mean, his run, but it was a much shorter run. But it's just something I thought about. And I don't know.
Hey, it's a good debate. I will disagree, and we can disagree, but you made me think some more, and that is causing some brain cells to burn right now.
Well, you're like me. I don't know how many we got to burn, but let's just keep going.
Amen. Gene, as always, thank you so much. I appreciate you a lot.
Take care, my friend.
Have a great day. Gene Abel.
You too. Bye-bye.
Wow, Jimmy, that made me think.
I feel like every time Gene comes on, he makes you think.
Yeah, he's prepared. Like, Dick Hoopsweiss prepares for doing the show. Gene prepares for doing. I don't think they're the only ones, but they take it really serious. Gene's really good. It's really good. Darryl Bird coming up next. Darryl Bird. Now, can Darryl top Gene, and could Gene top Hal McCoy? Very interesting. By the way, Travis Ford tomorrow, Sean Woods tomorrow, Mark Story tomorrow. Another fun day lining up. Fun. And I tell you what, might not be fun, but it's a blessing. Blue Lotus Health, 859-533-0914, 859-533-0914. Acupuncture, now also providing a licensed massage therapist. Ramon Carriega has helped me tremendously. Please use my name. Acupuncture is not cheap, but when it comes to, in my opinion, your health, I think it's very, very, very cheap. But that's me. You have your own opinion. Please use my name. Blue Lotus Health on Versailles Road. Ramon Carriega, special dude. 859-533-0914. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no-filter comment? Hit the text line, 859-381-1313, 859-381-1313.
Houchins Insurance Group is proud to partner with Auto Owners Insurance, a company that provides opportunity for independent agents to make insurance simple for their clients, offering risk management services that range from a renter's policy for your college student to home and auto coverage for your entire family. Houchins Insurance Group assures you that nobody works harder to keep you protected from life's uncertainties. Reach out to AJ Boss or Zach Bennett at 859-263-2771 to see if Auto Owners Insurance makes sense for you.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. This holiday season, give the gift of adventure with Quattrell Subaru. Right now, the 2025 Subaru Share the Love event. Subaru will donate $250 to one of 5 amazing nonprofits, including the Hope Center. And Quattrell Subaru is stepping up in a big way, more than doubling that, donating a total of $550 for every new Subaru purchased or leased now through January 2nd. Be part of the community and help make a difference through the 2025 Share the Love event at Quattrell Subaru. Learn more at QuattrellSubaru.com.
My name is Terry Schultz, CEO for the Rutherford County Area Habitat for Humanity. Republic Bank has really been a game changer. They have invested not only financially, but time to really listen so that we can move our mission forward. What I like about Republic Bank is they've come in asking, what are your needs? And I don't know that you get that any other place.
That's Terry's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank. Time to thrive.
smarter to keep you protected from life's uncertainties. Reach out to AJ Boss or Zach Bennett at 859-263-2771 to see if Auto Owners Insurance makes sense for you.
Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
Back, Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM. By the way, I wanted to mention this at just seconds before we introduce Daryl Bird, who always has wonderful opinions about Kentucky and sports in general. Jason Mays did our show yesterday, and I think he's a wonderful high school coach, and I think he should be coaching, and he's made some mistakes, big deal, but the punishment doesn't fit the crimes. It's actually, I think, really stupid, neither here nor there. But the point is, he said he got 12 direct phone messages for doing the show. And considering he was coaching in Montgomery County, there's a whole lot of people listening more and more and more. One, thank you for listening. And two, I hope some smart administration looks at him and sees what he's done and approaches him about being a head coach again. Because I think what I know, he's helped out a lot of kids. He's a hell of a coach in two places. And yeah, he's made some mistakes, but there are coaches who've done a lot worse and not gotten in trouble. That doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it wrong. But this is ridiculous, some of the unfortunate bad luck that he's had based upon things that were done. So just wanted to say that. Daryl Bird, how are you, dude?
Doing good, man. How are you?
I'm fine for an old geezer. General manager of Cats, and you started as GM when?
I started the summer 1 month before Tubby Smith was hired and days before Hal Mummy was hired to lead the football program.
It's a good thing there was nothing going on when you took over for
Yeah, absolutely nothing, yeah.
And you know what's interesting? And tell us the year you started at the Cats Post, because you worked there quite a long time before you ended up taking over.
No, actually, no. I was at the paper in Elizabethtown for a long time and before I took this. And I was there. Mark Coombs was there a year before I took over.
My bad.
About a year or so.
I apologize.
Yeah, it's all good.
It's not what it did. Yeah, and replacing Oscar, what he did building the unbelievable. I mean, basically, it's a little exaggeration, but not a lot. You were kind of in your own way for this kind of publication, and I mean this as a compliment to Oscar. You kind of replaced John Wooden.
Oh yeah, to a degree. Or I was the man who replaced the man. Yeah, absolutely. And actually, we just started we're in the middle of our 50th year of the Cat's Paw's existence, 50th year of the publication. And for the first issue of volume 50, I sat down with Oscar for a couple hours to go over how it all started way back when. Fascinating stories. He can spew stories like nothing. And the whole process of how it all worked out was pretty amazing. Good time.
And what he built was really, really amazing.
Yep.
Okay.
Sure was.
We got a lot of topics, so let's run through them. Your opinion of this brand new staff for Will Stein is?
I'm happy with it. I think, and that's what I wrote about in our last issue, I think Mitch, to quote Dumb and Dumber, totally redeemed himself because he stood by and watched John Sumrall, the favorite son of the public, go somewhere else when he could have made the move on Mark earlier. And by waiting it out, it was like, okay, you let Sumrall get away. Now what are you doing? Very quickly, he nailed Will Stein, and I expected the fans to like the hire. What I was impressed with is the people who follow the sport nationally were jumping online saying, "Oh, this is a coup for UK. You've got the up and comer in the industry." So in that regard, I was glad to see that come out.
Right or wrong, and I cannot prove this, Daryl. It doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
I believe Mitch was being loyal to Stoops to give him a chance.
Oh, there's no doubt.
And I can respect that loyalty. Whether I agree with it or not is superfluous, but I respect that part. And had he won the last two games, we all know there's no question that Mark would still be the coach now. I think he won the last game, be the coach now. And I don't think there's.
Yep, I agree.
And let me throw something else your way. I don't know this, but as much as Summerall loves Kentucky, I wonder if he wanted the Florida job more, and I wonder, and I don't know this, if there were feelers ever put out there, as you know, this stuff goes on behind the scenes, could be a booster,
Sure
could
does.
be the administration. There's no way in high, you know what, that there wasn't some communication with Summerall. And I wonder if he loves this place, that he thinks he can win better at Florida. That's what I believe, but I can't prove it. And so it's not that Stein is the second choice. I think you're looking at a couple of people and da-da-da-da-da. So that's not negative to Stein. I do believe that is an obvious scenario. And if I'm wrong, please, somebody from administration, tell me I'm wrong.
Now, I put the same thing out on Twitter. I said, as bummed as you are about losing Summerall, if he had to choose, if both jobs are vacant, which one do you really think he's going to take? I mean, come on. I know he loved UK in high school. When he was in high school, he told me, I covered him when he played here. That's how old I am. And I remember the story he told me that about being a UK fan from Alabama. He said, oh, yeah, we were, the night of our high school prom, we snuck out into the parking lot and listened to the Final Four game that whatever Kentucky was in that year, that he had always been a UK fan. So it's pretty funny. That story always stuck with me for some reason. And so, I know he loves this place and may have taken it, but you hang Florida out there, and I don't know. That would have been a tough call. I don't think it would have been a slam dunk that he would have picked UK over Florida by any stretch.
Daryl, that's a great story. I'd never heard that one. Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Get surprised like that, but I like when I do. I mean, that's a great story. I remember I have this selfish rule, and I bet you're the same way in your own way. I just have a bigger mouth than you, Daryl. But I have this thing when I talk to somebody for the first time, and they're really good talkers. And there was someone you didn't know, the first time we talked to him, he'd end up being, he overachieved based on skills. The first time I talked to him, he said, I walked away, I sure hope this kid can play because he's a really good talker.
He's a good talker. He wasn't that big, and that he was among the leading tacklers. The boy could play.
Yeah,
he could play. He played far above his. If you saw him, like you said, when he was a freshman, you're like, oh my, this is not a starting linebacker in the SEC. And
amen.
Turns out he was.
Yeah,
and a good one.
I'm sorry for stepping in, Daryl. He also wasn't fast. Yeah, I looked at him and I'm going, is this a Kentucky player? And guess what? My impressions, I was wrong.
Now, what both of us failed to realize is the kids from Alabama, they start playing tackle football at age 4 in Alabama. So he knew how to play the game.
And he had a great heart.
Play it very well.
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
All right, I want to throw this at you. I don't think I'd ever say this, but the quarterback coaching today at the University of Kentucky is elite. The quarterback coaching today, and I don't know every staff, so, you got to be straight with this stuff. There aren't 10 better. And so let me throw a little thing at you that I've been talking about. Then I'm going to turn my mic off, Daryl, so I don't step on you. Contrary to what was said by Adam Luckett today, and I respect Adam, by the way, I think does a hell of a job, and I've told him that to his face, but we're not going to agree sometimes with our sources. This is not Cutler's team yet. It's not. At this point, I'm not saying it's not going to be. It's not. Okay, he's been watching tape with the coaches, all that kind of stuff. He has not signed. If I'm Will Stein, I don't give a rat's if you're from Alaska or Lexington or Purdue. Doesn't make a difference. You got to have the best person for that particular spot in any particular position. Obviously, everybody knows the quarterback is more important, that kind of stuff. If I'm the agent for Langley or how do you pronounce the kid from Nebraska? I've seen him play, and I have this thing about the kid's name. Anyway, if all these quarterbacks have gone in the portal in the last couple of days, and if I'm one of the agents, I'm calling Stein, because even if Kentucky doesn't have the biggest offer, not everybody, as you know, takes the biggest offer. What is the best spot for me to move on to the NFL? And if the coaching here is that good, I'll take $500,000 less. If it gets me to the NFL, I'm going to make a ton more money. And so I think Stein is saying, I like Cutler, because I do believe he likes Cutler, but I'm not giving him the keys to the car yet. I'm not saying he won't give him the keys to the car, but this ain't a done deal. It's not his team yet. He has not put his name in the portal, but he hasn't signed yet either. And so if you want to on the flag, boys, one of the first things you do is signing. I don't blame Stein. I don't blame Cutler. Cutler has to do what's best for Cutler. I think the kid is great. I think he would learn tremendously from Sloan and Stein. Tremendously. I think he could turn into with him. But that doesn't mean they won't pick him over the next, what they think is Bo Nix. And so this is not a done deal. Now, take the first thing about the coaching, second thing about Cutter, and I'm literally turning my mic off. Daryl Bird of the Cats Boys.
Oh, you can't do that. You'll have to turn it back on.
Well, I've done that. When I say I turn it off, it's always the truth, but there have been a couple times I've turned it back on. But please, Daryl, go ahead.
Exactly right. I say even 10 years ago, it's already settled, and it's Cutter's team moving forward. The transfer portal has changed everything. And I think not just Will, but Cutter and his family, they all have to do their due diligence on this stuff. That whole loyalty stuff is very nice, and I miss it dearly, but you have to do what's best for you. And I think they're both, I mean, I guarantee people, you talk about Will Stein should go get or talk to A, B, and C across the country. Well, college A, B, C, D, E, F, all the way through the alphabet are wearing Cutter out too. Come play for us. And you have to just sit back. It's not going to move as fast as people want, because you have to say, all right, what all do you all have to say? What all do you all have to offer? What kind of offer is going to come from Kentucky? And Will's perspective, he's got to say, okay, Cutter, yes, but what's plan B if we want to examine all these? You just have to weigh all the options nowadays. And I don't like it. I prefer it already be settled, but it's just not going to be the case. It's going to take a while.
Let's say if a DJ Langley wants to play here, could I honestly see Stein saying I'd rather have DJ Langley, whether I like it or not? Yes. That doesn't mean Cutter can't play in the NFL. And the reason why I'm saying this before somebody starts, you can chirp on me in the audience you want, but the reason why I'm saying this, if there was nobody out there at all that he liked better than Cutter, I believe, because Cutter wants to be here, he'd already be signed. And your point's well taken. Cutter and so many others have been getting phone calls since before the season ended.
Sure. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
There are kids, and I know this, who have gotten either offers on the field or players, coaches on the field after games. And I've had a couple people say, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. No, I know firsthand. Okay, in a lot of different cases. That's BS. And Daryl, I know you know. So it's just the way it is. So,
yeah.
Agency is basically every day but Christmas and maybe New Year's. Well, not New Year's this year.
Yeah, tampering is rampant. There's no question. Even Barnhart talked about the day of Stein's announcement. He said, people are calling people left and right. Let's not pretend that's not happening.
Right.
And it's happening.
And by the way, do I believe, when Mitch says, and I don't mean this with disrespect, but I'm just going to say it, obviously, when Mitch says we're not going to break the rules and stuff like that, do I think Kentucky's ever reached out to people? Absolutely. You have to survive. If you wait till the open, you got no damn football team. So,
That's true.
It said was disingenuous, but it was a little disingenuous. Do you, the other cheek, you agree with that?
When he said, let's not pretend they're not tampering, it was a question of, why did you move so fast on hiring Will Stein? He said, because we had to protect our roster.
Yes.
Or there would not have been a team if I'd waited a week, because people were tampering left and right, and they would have all been gone before I could even get a coach in here.
And I thought that's
where the answer came from. Yeah, and it's accurate too. But the funny thing is, I think if Cutter is not from Hodgenville, nobody's even raising an eyelid about. It's going to take a while to work out to see, what offers he's getting and what offer UK's going to make, and UK's new coach. Kind of looking at it, is this the quarterback that's best for my system? And I'm going to look around. But the in-state thing is what's driving. Why isn't he already, True Blue UK already signed up in QB1 from the get-go?
By the way, Daryl, so you're suggesting
just take a breath and wait.
Yeah, if Cutter Bowley was from the state of Pennsylvania, would there be this kind of talk? Absolutely not. I could not agree with you more.
No.
Could not agree with you. Okay, so two things. I got about 90 seconds. We didn't talk basketball. Will this toughness continue? Was it an aberration? What do you think, Daryl Bird, respected general manager of the Cats Paws?
What do I think? In what direction? The program the rest of the way? Is that what you're asking me?
Will the toughness continue?
Oh, the toughness. Yes, the toughness will continue. I think, I didn't ask Mark the other day. I should have. I think Gonzaga was rock bottom. You finally have bottomed out. You can't get any worse than that night. And now you're trying to start building it back the other way. And look what happened. Well, how much it helped getting Mo Diabate back, getting Jalen Lowe back. and if Quaintance can come back, then yeah, there's a lot of upside there. Whether they're going to be this elite offensive team, I don't know about that one. So far they haven't proven they can shoot well enough to do that. But they're going to get better. The problem is, you're diving straight in. You go straight to Alabama to open up SEC play, and you don't need to get another 25-point loss hung on you, or everybody's going to be in a really sour mood all over again. So they got to compete. This game with St. John's is huge. It's a physical type game, going to be very similar to what they went through with Indiana, as far as probably a little lower scoring, but it's going to be very physical. And they need to put two together. Okay, you got one, get another quad one win, and have some kind of momentum heading into the conference play.
Got 15 seconds. I'll say this quickly. To me, Gonzaga was Ohio State of last year.
Yes, that's a good point. Very accurate.
Don't be a stranger, and that's my fault. I love your takes on stuff. You're one of these old birds who have a great take, just like Gene has a great take. And I don't know if you heard how starting out his baseball stories were unbelievable. They always are. Daryl, thank you much. Yeah. I respect you and appreciate you, and hopefully I'll talk to you soon.
All right, man. Anytime.
Thanks, Daryl. Hey, Daryl Bird is really, really good. What a combination of guests today. Hal McCoy, Gene Abel, Daryl Bird, and a lovely, lovely list of guests tomorrow, including Travis Ford. We're having fun. More of you are listening all the time. I say thank you, and if you just tell one friend, and many of you are, and I appreciate it tremendously. We are growing and growing. You can listen to us live on the ESPN Sports Lexington app. Jimmy will have the podcast up for today's show by 12:30. The Hal McCoy stories were just marvelous. And Gene was great. And Daryl Bird's analysis was great. It's really good stuff. And also on 1300 AM and 92.5 FM, Matthew and Jimmy at 10. I'll be back at noon. And Brad